the one black character, and he was known as the black. I didn't know his name for ages because he was just the one black guy that I picked. And let's not even start on the hairstyles when they do. There's three standard. There's the
dreadlocks. There's the what you call it? There's the massive afro, which isn't even feasible, but okay. And then there's that. You know when you go to that dirty barber, and you get that one, dirty one, and you can't say anything because you're in the seat and you're too scared to say anything. But you're like, and he's still got your hair. You're like, it's not the one right now. Those were the three kinds of hairstyles that you find in the video games industry. It's like,
you can't forget the floating cameras as well. Just sit on top, like floating on top of the character's head, always.
So, like most times when they even have the hairstyle, we don't even have, it's not even trimmed, like it's just there. It's blank, it's just there. There's no line up, no nothing, no personality to the hair, to the hairstyle. It's just, okay, let's just dash this on them. Right, it's nice, we've done it guys. It's there.
And it's such a disservice because of how diverse and varied black people's hair can be, where it's like, and then you go to a game and you just see like 3 hairstyles. It's like, oh, so which one's closest to me? And that's the one I have to pick.
Well, I think
I was going to say, because we're touching on 2 different points. There's the point of sometimes the character's black and they're just black, and then that's not really adding to the story. It's just that they're black. It's like, okay, that's nice. Then there's the narrative story game where they're black and then they're telling a story about their blackness. And both of these medias can exist in the same room. It's not a zero-sum game. But when you see too much of one, that's when it becomes solely, that's when it then paints kind of a holistic picture over all black people. Like black people only talk about their race and that's it. It's all about the struggle. And sometimes I want to play a game. It's not about the struggle. Sometimes I just want to play a game and just game. Why recent indie developer and indie game companies are more diverse and why they make, on average, more money than the AAA games?
I think we have spoken a lot about what people are getting wrong, and we've touched on what people are getting right, but recently we've been seeing a sort of a surge in like diverse characters. Some of them are obviously not getting it right, but others are getting it right. And I'm seeing things like Deathloop, which was amazing. It was really nice to see that they represented black characters authentically. What's that other one? Redfall as well, and a game that hasn't come out yet, but I'm already obsessed with it because I saw one of the vampires. Oh, it was Redfall, and we're seeing more characters that are diverse in games right now, and I'm hopeful that this is going to be what the future looks like in terms of gaming, where we're going to see different characters, they're different races. Hopefully we're going to see more characters with different disabilities as well, done authentically. I played a game, I think it's called Before I Go to Sleep, I'm sure, and it was going on about how the woman had Alzheimer's, and you didn't actually realize it until a little bit later, where it's just like, oh, this is why she keeps forgetting things and things like that. And they portrayed it so well. They didn't like take the piss, the fact that she has Alzheimer's, and it was interesting to see that, oh, this is why gaming is so important, because you can literally walk inside her shoes as to this is what it feels like when you have Alzheimer's. I'm not saying I know what it feels like to have Alzheimer's, but the way they portrayed her in the thing, they said it was really, really authentically done. And this is why gaming is important, because you can actually see what it feels like to be someone else for a day or a moment or a second. And we're seeing a lot more. We're seeing a lot more, because I'm just like narrowing away and I'm just like, I'm kidding. We're seeing more representation done in gaming, and we want to see more of it as well. And we're hopeful that in terms of the future, this is the path that we're going on, and this is the path that, so far, we do know that some of these games, there is a bit of tokenism and the black square on Instagram because of the whole BLM thing, and there is the performance activism, which is like, oh, like, why are they doing this? So many people have reached out to us because of Black History Month.
Yeah. Let me duck and cover. Let me weather this storm until it's over, and then it can be back to business as usual. So we get 2 types of clients that come towards us. We get the ones that have taken a genuine look and say, let's see how we can make this better. And then some of the first questions we ask is like, do you want to do it so other people can know you're doing it, or do you want to do it to actually make a point and actually go forward with this? And then there's other people, like I said, where they duck and cover, they weather the storm until it's not really a talked about subject anymore, and then they can just continue with what they were doing before.
I think because people are seeing that people that look like us do want to play games. You know, we're more visible right now, and they will create more games that will represent us, because it's very difficult being a patron of an industry that doesn't always respect you, that doesn't always show you visibly. You know, I'm buying these games, I'm putting my money into these things, but I'm not getting represented. And I'm not saying every single game must have this, but not one person of color in your game, I won't even buy it. Like, unless it's about one person and they're on a desert island somewhere. It's right, for me right now, it's why isn't this game diverse, you know? And I won't be playing games unless I see diversity. Sheila, I'm actually worried about you right now. And that's like a harder stance to take, because there are games that I love, but they don't represent me correctly, but I really like the game,
False.
you know?
You have to be strong. I love Star Wars. Sequels, did I watch it? Did I want to watch it? Yeah. But I didn't, because I realized that I'm buying into a system that's not going to change unless I'm the consumer. Star Wars the game, sorry. Well, the sequel series as well, but I'm not going to get into that. But Star Wars the game, we knew about Battlefront, because I didn't like the way that they were doing their, not their DLC, or DLCs also, but also their loot boxes. How predatory the loot boxes could be in that game, I didn't like it, so I was like, I'm not putting my money into something that is clearly designed to harm me. And for like 3-4 years, I love Star Wars. For 3-4 years, I didn't buy Star Wars Battlefront 2. And my sister was like, the only person you're hurting is yourself. I was like, no, I'm not doing this because this is not right. So as much as it is in the hands of the developers to also do right, we as consumers also have that power as well to be like, I'm not represented, so I'm not putting my money in there. And a lot of stakeholders, that's where you hit them, that's where you hurt them most. Their bottom line, unfortunately. Like, we want to be in a world where people care, people genuinely care about this. But for a lot of people, especially people who have a really, really fat paycheck, they don't. So we have to come to terms with that and understand that where we as consumers hold the power is where we spend our money and what we support.
I was just going to say as well, it's like what you touched on, not doing it just because they don't want to get cancelled or they just want money at the same time. It can be down to us to make sure that it's like, this is done wrong. Like, let's identify that. Like, don't just put the black person there, the changes, the sexual orientation of the person just because I don't want to be cancelled. Let it be done properly, and it's us as everyone here to say that, hold on, let's hold you to account. Is that right? Do I feel like I'm being represented properly? And that's the important thing, not just because obviously everyone wants to make money, but make sure that you're actually not, because it can be actually seen as insulting. Like, there have been so many times where I played games and the accents are terrible. I'm like, where did you drag this voice actor from? Where? Just send them back. But actually make sure that it's done properly and how it should be, you know, so that people do feel like they're not being disrespected and actually taken, as you said, they're taking our money. So it's down to you to feel like, I feel like this is money well spent as a consumer.
Touching on that point, I do think that we should make a distinction of, there are times like when we see tokenism, because sometimes when I see tokenism, Andy doesn't see tokenism. When I see diversity, I'm going to take diversity. So it's also about having a dialogue and having a discussion, because sometimes you can catch me on the wrong day and I'm like, what the hell is this? And then I have to take a minute, I have to take a breather, I'm like, okay, let me see what the whole game is, let me see why they're doing this, and then going from there. So it's not, I don't think it would be fair to just label them, oh, you're racist because you did this, and that's all. Sometimes there is a discussion that needs to be had when it comes to these kinds of things. And like I said, like, simply just like, we're brother and sister, but simply as close as that bond is, we can have disagreement about the exact same character. And having that discussion is also very key in going forward when it comes to diversity, both in the industry and as in the content that we produce.
I think there's a distinction between the tokenism and people being represented authentically, and sometimes when you've been at the brunt of so much I guess racism and not being represented correctly, you can become maybe oversensitive, and then everything you see is, no, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. So sometimes you have to take a step back and say why, in a discussion, as a person of color as well, to see, was this done incorrectly or was it not done incorrectly as well. It's about maybe keeping yourself accountable. I think everyone, if they kept themselves accountable, we'd all be living in a better place. But we're conscious of time, so we want to sum up different things in terms of the future. We do want to see more diverse games, and we do believe that there does need to be more skills and courses offered to people of color so that they can get into the industry. And the industry themselves now, it's very important for allies to be helping. Everyone needs to help yourselves, of course, and chase your dreams, but allies are helpful. We've seen it in our own lives, and just